Well, hello everyone. You're very welcome to the Man United agenda. They may be throwing 180s in the alley pally, but we got plenty of football to get our teeth around. Hello everyone, and you're very welcome to Tuesday night's Man United agenda. This is Rebel here from my new location upstairs in my gaff. Yaba is currently rubbing his belly, thinking of chicken noodles. But I'm also joined for a bit of football colour from BATHTIME and Mr. B. How we doing, gentlemen?
Well, did you mention the darts there? Who's the young guy? Luke
Litter.
Luke Litter, yeah. I think
Is he winning?
Is he well? I think Philip Schofield will be the first one in line to congratulate him because he's 16 years old, reaching his semi.
One day.
I can't believe you're saying that whilst rubbing your belly. It's such a weird image.
And his girlfriend's 21.
You're joking. He looks about 40. I swear to God. When they said he was 16, I said, no, surely not. What is it about dart players that they look old and out of shape?
Pub.
No?
It's a pub sport.
By the way, Andy Tate is just laughing his arse off at OMONDI's comment about semis and 16-year-olds and Philip Schofield. But we will issue the fine in the post to Mr. Yaba Forbes for that unseemly remark, and we do apologise to anyone that is offended by such remarks. But gentlemen, let's get down to business. It's Exodus season at Manchester United Football Club. Now, some of this happened yesterday, of course, but what I'll be asking our learned football panelists is the effect on the squad, because me and Mr. B have a long-running argument every single January with Mr. Yaba over there about our squad being far too thin. And I have a funny feeling, Mr. B, you may be mentioning that fact again today.
Just a little bit.
But BATHTIME, before we get into the cut and thrust things, how are you doing? Any scar for us?
Well, obviously, it's quite difficult being in the middle of Mr. B and OMONDI at the moment. The tension, which is normally sexual, isn't at the moment. It's at an all-time high. They don't like each other, and the comments have worked it out. So I feel like I'm a sort of UN peacekeeping force tonight.
Oh, yes. Here. Do you know what now? I'm going to use a terrible pun here, but you're going to have to mount up.
Oh, wow. Rebel.
Back fountain
Rebel.
Stuff.
So, how long have you had that shirt? Rebel, you've worn it more times than Mason Mountain, yeah?
Probably have.
That's true. Is that an ornament? Is it, or do you wear it? Do you actually wear it out?
Well, I'll tell you what now, it's actually been a bit of an ornament because it's still got the original tags, courtesy of a certain establishment in London that hooks us up with all our football gear. And just why we're mentioning it, obviously there is a fantasy football league currently active for the Man United agenda, and I did make a promise at the start of the season that the person that finishes top will receive, courtesy of moi, a football jersey from that same establishment of their choice. But that is later business, but we do need to get into business. And let's have a look at what is on the slate. Actually, do you know what? Before we do, on Monday, are you delegating common duty today? Or do you want to take them?
I've really got a lot of flu and things, so can someone else jump in?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I got him. Jesus Christ. But hold on. Let me do this, Rebel. Hold on, let me do it this way. I can't see it in that colour.
What's your New Year's resolution, right. Rebel?
More drink.
I take it you had a good
celebration.
More drink. I don't want to see no more. I don't want to see no more alcohol until March. I'll be honest. I've had a good time off. But look, rumor has it on the United District channel, I don't know who they are, that Eric has had to veto power on transfers since his arrival, and it appears that he isn't keen on relinquishing that. Do you think that's true? Well, he worked under a regime at Ajax, so I think you're causing a bit of trouble there, to be fair. Big up Hot Fuzz 44. Welcome to the madness. Jarl, I'm glad that it looks like we are going to go the way of City Liverpool when it comes to transfers. No more talk about whose manager this is and whose player that is. Okay, fair enough. So are we happy the way that it's going then? The fact that we're looking to save money on Varane, but look, we'll get into that a bit anyway. I know I've got a couple of questions that I need to ask you about. UK Strains, good evening. ATTV Andy, obviously, good evening. Andrew Williams, good evening. Rajat, we see you, good evening. But the Stalkers. But you were on yesterday, even when your boys were playing. Matthew Bassett, I'm beginning to think that you're not really a Liverpool fan, you're just on a wind-up. And DK Wilson, we see you, man. Right, let's go. Come and talk to us, Rebel. What goodies you got?
Right. So Sancho loan talks, Donny loan completion. Obviously, that was yesterday. Regulon sent back to the Spuds. Acquisitions sale dependent, and Varane is angry. Now, speaking of anger, Yaba is after making a visceral reaction there. Speak to us.
No, I didn't realise Regulon's gone back. Why? Why would he go back?
Looks like we're talking Regulon then. Coming in on Monday. It brings me all on. Is this money?
I've got no idea. I had no idea that was happening. I think he's had good impact since he's come. His stock has gone up again after going down since going to Spurs. Before he went to Spurs, he was a top player at Seville. Maybe it's the system they play, but he was raiding a lot, and they obviously play with maybe three at the back, I think. And their fullbacks are always getting forward and bombing forward. And he was part of that. And since he's come to United, I've been super impressed with him. And I know there's issues about these fullbacks playing inverted in midfield and all that, but as a traditional fullback, he's got a lot of energy, a lot of drive, and you think, oh, he's a little Spanish guy who can't really toughen himself up to play in the Prem. But I disagree. He's a really tough, good attitude, nice player, and I'm really shocked that we've let him go back to Spurs.
I will just read out the story before I get Mr. B and BATHTIME's view on this, but the deal always included a break clause that Manchester United had intended to trigger, and they've now done so. Regulon only started 4 games in the Premier League under Erik ten Hag, and it's expected to be returned out on loan or sold to another club as soon as he touches back in London. Other Premier League clubs are interested in the 27-year-old, according to transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, while Borussia Dortmund added him to their list of targets last month. So we have obviously seen some of our fullbacks return to fitness, Mr. B, and he has been used rather sparingly for Erik ten Hag, even in the midst of our injury crisis. Does it make sense that we move him back in order to free up a loan spot?
Yeah, I do. I think that's probably what they're doing, but I'm also sure that Malacia is back middle of January. I assume that'll be for the Tottenham game. So I think that they're doing exactly what you're saying there, Rebel. They're going to free up a loan space. We all know that we've got no money. As much as they keep talking about 40 and 50 million on players, we know we're fresh. So I think that it's to free up a loan space. I mean, the fact that Malacia hasn't played at all is a bit worrying. But hopefully he's hanging his shirt on the fact that he thinks that Shaw's going to stay fit for the whole season, for the rest of the season. What are you thinking, Bath Time here, man? What's the situation here?
I mean, it is probably about loans. I'm more surprised, that Omondi, you're disappointed with this, yeah?
Yeah. More shocked. I didn't see this coming. I've just seen it first time here on the show. So I need some time.
We've seen Lindelof picked ahead of him at left back. We've seen Amrabat picked ahead of him at left back. I think that Malacia and Shaw would get ahead of him at left back, and Dalot gets ahead of him at left back, really, isn't it? He's sort of 6th or 7th choice. I think he's done okay when he's played. I like that he's direct. I think he provides the width well, and I think that, to be honest, he worked pretty well with Garnacho. So, I mean, would you expect to sign him?
No, because we've got so many left backs, haven't we? With Luke Shaw, Malacia, and obviously Dalot can play there. So it's not a priority, but it's. I just want to say, if you were to score him, how he played, 4 starts in the Premier League, and he had a couple games in the Champions League as well. I thought he'd done all right. He represented himself really well. So that's all you can do when you're on loan, isn't it? You know it's going to be hard to get in the side, but when you come on, you got to give it all. And I think, like you said, there's Dortmund there. All these clubs seem to be interested in him based on what they've seen. Watching the biggest club in the world, that'd be Man United. Everyone watches us, so yeah, I think fair play to him. He's done all right.
So, yeah, I think he's been adequate. I think our 2 loan signings this year, him and Amrabat, though, I'd genuinely like to upgrade as quickly as possible, or use in different areas of the squad. Like, as I say, I think he's done fine, and he hasn't caused any problems. I'm a huge fan of his wife, so I'm sorry to see him go.
His wife, what is she a model?
Well, I mean, if Regulon's a 5 out of 10 every week, Marta Diaz is a 10 out of 10.
Wow, Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna get Googling after the show.
I'm Googling right now.
What's your initial reaction? Live reaction.
Hold on.
What did you say her name was?
Martia. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh, really? Wow.
Martia what?
Marta Diaz. I'm not sure this is the direction we should take the channel in. 3 old men looking up girls on the internet.
Speak about yourself, mate. 3 old men. Get lost. I'm going back in years now. I've hit the end. My dial's going backwards.
Do you know what year? Right, have you seen Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what year, if Back to the Future was done today, do you know what year he would go back to?
The first one.
Yeah.
So it was in 1985, the film came out. He went back to 1963. No, 60. It was the 60s, when early 60s, because it was Little Richard or Chuck Berry. So early 60s, I think 61, 62. So that would have been, what, 23, 4 years?
24, 25 years, maybe.
Right. So what year are we in now?
23.
We're in 2024, Amondo.
God, my gosh.
So what year is he going back to?
Our treble winning season.
Yeah. Sort of like mid-90s, I think he goes back to.
1999. Get in.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I am going to sidetrack you a small bit away from the loan move. And this is just one that has literally come out on One Football. Out of form Anthony has been poorer than last season at Manchester United Football Club. So this article is essentially claiming that the £86 million forked out for Anthony, despite being initially valued at a lower figure, the struggles that he has lived up to at Manchester United, and they go on and speak about essentially that he has not reached the value. Do you agree that he is deteriorated and could actually be following a similar path to our next main topic, which would be Jadon Sancho, as a flop at Manchester United Football Club?
What we to answer that in one word, Rebel?
Whatever you're feeling.
He's been a disgrace. Even for 30 million. Even if he had cost 30 million, he still would have been a disgrace. He does nothing. You know, you always try, but when the new signings come in, you're always excited. You always want to back him. You get all the banting from the rival fans. Oh, he's rubbish. He doesn't do this. I'll get lost. He'll come good. I don't think he's going to come good for our team. I don't know what they're going to be able to recoup for him money-wise, because I'm going to assume that whatever we're paying him is some ridiculous amount that nobody else is going to want to pay him. So, oh, Jesus Christ, Rebel. 200 grand.
He can't be on 200 grand a week.
He was on 20 grand at Ajax, and that was like big wage.
And then we paid him 200.
Yeah.
I can't be. Like 100 grand a week. Must be. 200 grand a week. Where's this coming from?
This is just all part of this article, but I just wanted to get your views on the fact that obviously when you invest a substantive amount of money like that in a transfer, and it has been spoken about, and Bart has mentioned it again today, about it not the football clubs and the football side not being run by football people in the executive. Is this kind of a tantamount to, I suppose, not doing your due diligence? Because 86 odd million pounds, £200 per week contract, it just seems like a typical Manchester United style deal, doesn't it?
It's £200 a week or 200 grand.
200
I
grand.
still think that's a bit steep for Anthony,
Yeah.
200 quid a week.
He said 200, but
I mean,
yeah.
look, Monday, it said there that under Solskjaer, we valued him at 25 million.
Right.
Like, that's what we thought he'd get. And then we go and end up paying, what, 80 million and 250 grand a week? That can't be right, 200 grand a week.
But maybe, I mean, how old is he?
22?
All right, so he's 22 years old. Sometimes you can see potential in players and you can see things turn around. I wonder what his teammates think about him. I wonder what he would say if he had gaming into about why maybe it's not working out for him or he's not getting numbers. I wonder what the manager would say behind closed doors about him. Clearly, he's a big talking point because of the, like you just mentioned there, about 200 grand a week and the money we spent on him. And rival fans like to sort of mock us and say, look, this guy is terrible. I'm still going to wait to the end of the season. It's like Harry Maguire last year. I'm not going to give up on a player that's still at our club. When you start breeding that, he would turn up at games and think, oh, the fans are against me. We need to get behind our players and really try to get the best out of them, whatever that is. I haven't seen the levels yet rise.
Yeah, but we need to see something to get behind
Exactly.
to get behind it. Like, he's played 1,000 minutes or something without a goal or an assist. And the best thing that he does is his defensive work, which is great. But you need more than that, innit? And we kind of know what the squad think. Like, Sancho clearly was sort of referring to, like, not being able to get ahead of Anthony when he wasn't playing well. I suppose Ten Hag will say that he got us a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, and Anthony comes in, we get our first, like, even though it's a minor trophy, it's still a trophy. But I don't know, Mr. B. Like, you're a hot shot winger. What do you reckon to Anthony?
I don't reckon anything. As I said, I don't think anything. He doesn't do anything. As I said, I've tried to back him. He just, when he picks up the ball, when Garnacho picks up the ball, you get that excitement, you get a buzz. That's what I like to get from my wingers. And then he picks up the ball and you're thinking, oh shit, what's he gonna do? Well, not even what's he gonna do. We know what he's going to do, which makes it probably 10 times worse. Because if we do, when we're sitting down watching TV, those players who have been, who've done their 1 week's training or their 4 days training specifically to tackle Anthony, what do? Show him inside, because they know he's going to stop and pass it. And it's not like he's going to pop it off Ahmad, pop it off and run down the wing to give the option. He passes it there and stops and looks at his 4-yard pass.
I've got a question for you, Mr. B. In all your years of watching Manchester United, can you think of a winger that Anthony is better than?
Good question.
Is he better than Dan James?
No.
Wow.
Okay.
And I didn't like Dan James, but at least Dan James played like a winger. Oh, wow.
Amondi, give me some terrible wingers from the 1830s.
Newton Heath days, isn't it? Amondi.
Yeah.
Well, Danny Wallace was mentioned the other day. He came from Southampton. He was good. Steve Coppell, legend, rest in peace. Better than Anthony, I think. More effective. Run down the wing. Kanchelskis, much better. The goal output, he was dangerous, direct. Then we got Beckham as a winger, if you call him a winger, but he was effective with what he did. I just think it's a mental thing with Anthony. He's got the talent. I just think he needs to sort of change, like mentally mature and learn how to play in this side and contribute his teammates, which he's not doing.
I'm thinking of like Obertan and like Janusaj and people like that.
Yeah, but then if you're looking at Obertan, how much did we pay for Obertan?
About 2 million, I think.
Okay, we spent 75. Even with inflation, Obertan comes nowhere near that. And how long was Obertan at the club for? We acknowledged that he was shit. But for some reason, Anthony's still here. I understand why he's still here. I'm not ignorant enough to think that we're going to be able to get rid of him or to get him off the books. But
yeah, I think Overtime wasn't the best looker, was he? A bit like Luke Chadwick. Going on to Luke Chadwick.
Luke Chadwick's a handsome man now.
I really like him now. He does a lot of podcasting and he's always positive and everything. He talks a lot about Man United, but he was decent. I thought he was decent when he came inside. He got a bad injury and then sort of fell off. But I think Luke Chadwick and Overtime at the moment, I would take them over Anthony. Overtime was quite
Cruyff,
good.
David Bellion.
Not David Bellion. He was just a pace merchant, I think. Well, yeah, you got some good lists there, man. You've got a script there. Some of you really have some good names.
It's just a misspent youth on Champ Man. You know how it goes. But genuinely, like, I can't think in living memory of a winger that, like, of someone who plays in that position who's been less effective in attack than Anthony. Like, that's not all that it is. Like, he does really good defensive work. Like, and that shouldn't be like sniffed at. But you've got to contribute stuff. And last season I think it was against Chelsea when, I mean, they might not have cared or whatever, but Sancho nearly got the same amount of assists that Anthony had all season in 45 minutes. Like, I think Anthony had 3 or 4 assists last year.
Wow.
Gentlemen, can I just draw your attention to the list there of sporttech.com? This is all our top earners at Manchester United Football Club. He's either 9th or 10th in the overall earners list at Manchester United Football Club. There is a bit of debate of whether it's 150 or 200. These guys are saying 200 grand per week. But when you look at the names that are topping our list, Sancho, Varane, Casemiro, Rashford, Martial, it's rather scary, isn't it?
Well, some of them guys are going to be leaving, I think. Casemiro, he's on a big wage. Martial coming to an end. Varane, according to gossip, seems to be on his way out. And obviously Sancho, I think Mount will stay. And Harry Maguire, I mean, he's on a good wage, but he deserves it. Apart from that...
I love her one day, one day you're funny, Look, I'm not shocked by the list. I'm more pissed off that the people who are on the biggest bucks are the people who are doing the least for the club.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe not in Varane's case, but Casemiro's done nothing. Let's be honest. Last season Casemiro was great. This season Casemiro came back and he wasn't ready to play football. He wasn't physically well. I'm not going to say he wasn't mentally, but he didn't look like he was physically ready to play football, and it showed on the pitch. Granted, Ten Hag is putting him in this one holding position, and there was no way he was going to get across the pitch to be covering the amount of ground that he wanted him to be covered. But at the same time, he hasn't been great. And the length of his contract, we know that Brailsford, those men are coming in for marginal gains. Marginal gains could be anywhere. So they could be looking at the pay structure now, thinking, okay, we get him off, we get him off, we get him off. We'll piss off him. We'll put it out in the media that this person is this. That's how they're going to get these players out of the club.
Big up Dora.
That's how they're going to. That's how they're going to get the players out of the club. So, guys, if you lot are actually watching the screen and you can see OMONDI rubbing, it's not his dog. It is actually his stomach that he's rubbing. There you go. Sorry, there you go.
It's like a big Buddha just sitting there, rubbing away.
But I'm very, very sick right now. Very, very sick. But I'm here. This is the commitment that some of our players don't represent. I'm here in the Man United agenda through all kind of sicknesses. I'll be here. That's what you call commitment, guys. And
Jadon Sancho.
My wage is absolutely zero.
But
Jadon.
It's time to talk about Jadon. And he's been subject to a loan move back to Borussia Dortmund today. Now, this has come from 2 German sources. Sky Germany's Florian Pattenberg is reporting that both Manchester United and Dortmund are actively working on a 6-month loan deal for the 23-year-old to return to Germany. You'll see his tweet there is beside it. The transfer all depends on Manchester United, as it is uncertain if the Premier League giants are open to a loan deal and may want to cut their losses in January. In addition, Bill's Christian Falk is also reporting that Sancho is expected in Dortmund this week, and Manchester United will pay, once again, part of the winger's salary, but will receive a loan fee to make the transfer happen. Sancho was a huge success in his first spell at Dortmund, scoring 50 goals and providing 64 assists across 137 games for the black and yellow. The Englishman move to Manchester United has been a huge failure, and football fans were hoping that the talented star can rediscover his old self if he returns to Bundesliga. Now, this does certainly seem a case of a change in direction, because, as we know, that in past we have been unwilling to let go players because they do not want to take a paper loss. But BATHTIME, given Jadon Sancho's situation at Manchester United Football Club, is it a case of take what we can get?
I don't know. The reason I don't know is that, like, Sancho's a talented boy. There's no doubt about it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the Bundesliga, and I'm very snooty about German football. But what is that? 114 assists in like goal contributions in 137 games. That's not a bad player. But we then sort of move into the realms of Pogba, where we always needed to unlock Pogba in it and find a team for him to play in. When Bruno, to be fair, just turned up like the Tasmanian devil and just tore everything up with McFred behind him. But the only reason that I think we would keep Sancho on loan is if Ineos are a little bit undecided about Ten Hag and maybe they can get something out of Sancho. Because we always talk about, like, Ten Hag doesn't have the right structure and the people around him and all this sort of stuff are rubbish and he can't do his job. Like, Sancho might be saying the same thing, that, you know, the manager's not very good, the training facilities are terrible, and that in a different environment he might do well. Personally, I'd move him on, but I can understand why the club think maybe, like, hedge your bets a little bit with a loan and see how things play out, because he's a talented player and OMONDI loves him.
Yeah, most certainly too. I think really disappointed that it hasn't worked out for him. It's a new year, fresh start for him. Maybe his New Year's resolution will be to stop stinking out the place with his bad attitude. And, you know, like me, I'm going to stop using roll-on aerosol. I'm going to stop using aerosol deodorants and all that kind of thing. So roll-on 2024. I think
that's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. Yeah, so,
you get worse.
I know it's terrible, but anyway, I think that, like, for me, I was disappointed initially. I said, "Wow, this guy not working out. He's a good, talented player. I really love him as a player, but it's the other side of things. I don't like the attitude. It's like this roadman kind of attitude, or like flashing, bling, bling, bling kind of thing. What I've been seeing more and more of, and I dislike that a lot. I'm coming from my parents and everyone were classy. They didn't act like that, and this new generation, you know, what Sancho's representing, and Rashford in a way dyeing his hair yellow like Kanye West and that kind of thing, or raving up and wanting to be seen, and you're not focused. To me, you're not focused on the game. You're not focused on your football, and by doing all these things, and you've had great opportunity. You've had Ronaldo at the club, who's set a good example. You know, you can't complain about that, because it's not like you come to Man United and you think, oh yeah, I could just chill and go out with a man them and every night. You know, Ronaldo's there as a good example of how to be a professional. I just dislike. I'm really, really gutted. It hasn't worked out, and I really hate this culture that we have from Lingard, from Rashford, from Sancho, because it just shows me that they're not on it. They're not on it at all, and it's a disappointment. Sancho's missed the Euros. He's missed all these. There's Euros coming up this year. He's in his prime. What's wrong with you, young man? You know, what is wrong with you? You're going to miss out on these major tournaments where you could be a part of it if you just fixed up and put your head down. You're playing for Man United Football Club. Anyone who comes to Man United, you're likely going to get picked for the international thing, like you did when we had the Euros in the UK.
Did you feel that way about
Beckham?
Yeah, Beckham was flash, and Dwight York as well.
Well, come on. there's a difference, isn't there? You know, I don't need to speak on that. You know, Beckham was a hard worker, and unlike Dwight, what did Fergie say? He said to people, "Stay away from this guy," you know, and then smiling in Dwight's face because Dwight was a bad news. We saw what happened. I mean, he's got a son, hasn't he? With is it Katie Price? Yeah, and things. So, and all the raving and living up after '99, you think, oh, Andy Cole and Dwight York, that's going to be the partnership of the future. I think there's a quote from Dwight York that actually says, "There's nothing more to achieve. I've done it now after '99, the treble," and he'd be disappointed. He should be disappointed with his life, you know. He should. He got to achieve. He got aim to be the best he can be. You know, if you got talent, aim to be the best.
Do you think Ronaldinho's disappointed with his life?
Good question. Good question. I think he would be. Yeah, I think he would be. Because you peak. You're going to say Icarus now, aren't you?
No, but I mean, Ronaldinho never he was a top player for about 3 or 4 years, isn't it? And he never really made like the most of his talents when you compare him to sort of Messi and Ronaldo for longer for being at the top for so long. So like, from Dwight York, I'm extremely happy with my career. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, a waste.
This is one from Tyrone. Sorry, this is United players always partied, but they actually won trophies, so nobody cared. The modern day United players act like superstars and have achieved nothing.
Yeah.
Very true. George Best used to play after a skin full of pints the following day.
Yeah. Lee Sharp was a bit of a raver, wasn't he? As well. So there's a culture in the football club. But I understand being involved in a culture where you go out drinking or you do whatever. But I was watching Troy Deeney was talking the other day, and he's come up through the ranks, and he was told when he was playing at Walsall, where he's from, in Birmingham, in that sort of area, the Midlands. He everyone else would go home after training. They say, "What are you doing now?" I'm going to play PlayStation. He'd just get a bag of balls and start, working on his game because he'd missed out on so much. And when you got that mentality to really sort of, you need to have some sort of disappointment as a young player to sort of come back, and that shows your character. A lot of guys get kicked out of clubs at a young age, don't they? Sancho didn't. Sancho was always a superstar. So he's at 22, 23 now. It's wrong. He never had that sort of disappointment. He's always the main man. And, we saw that at Man City. We saw that at Dortmund. And now he's come to Man United. I think he's the main man. Never had to sort of test his character. And when it was put to the test, he failed, in my opinion.
Before we move on to Danny, there is a comment here from Damien Walsh. He's saying, nothing wrong with craving attention. Beckham and Ronaldo, two of the hardest working players. So the question I'm going to put to you, can you be as prissy and as prima donna as you want if you were bagging and you were assisting week in, week out and delivering the goods on that football pitch?
Yeah, your job is yeah. You get away with a lot. When you're performing, you get away with a lot. Let's not get it twisted. So yeah, if they're doing their job, not to say they can do what they like, but you get a little bit more leeway.
I'm sensing agreement across the panel, so I will move on to Donny. No, I'm not going to spend too long on this, but it has been a torrid affair for him. And yesterday, he did receive his escape route, and he will be plying his trade for yet another club on loan while on the books of Manchester United Football Club. But the reason why I've included Donny on today's show is obviously that is 3 players now that it looks like will be no longer thrilling part of the Manchester United squad. And Mr. B, we've had a long time debate about squad depth. And given what we know about the uncertainty of when Malacia will actually form a tangible part of our squad in return from injury, because we don't even know what is wrong with the man at this stage, because he just has seemingly disappeared off our squad. And the other issues that are cropping up with age profile of certain players, without acquisitions, and we will speak to acquisitions shortly, do you think that we are treading deep, deep water with all these cuts to our squad?
In the Donny case, no, because he didn't even play. All he did was look good in training, apparently, according to BATHTIME. So no, Donny's going to be no loss. Donny will be no loss. Reguilon, I'm going to assume Malacia will be back. But Donny, look, he came, he stank, he's gone. He did nothing. He had all those managers, you know. We banged Donny's drum for ages. Don't come on, give him a chance, give him a chance. Oh, Ollie's wrong for not playing him. Anytime we lost, oh, Donny would have done this. Then you see Donny playing, think, okay, he'll come good in the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then Ten Hag came in, who made him a Ballon d'Or nominee when he was playing for him at Ajax. And he's not having it either. So Donny hung around maybe I would say a year and a half longer than he should have done, but he definitely should have left in the summer. I didn't understand why he stayed. But the fact that this deal was done on the 1st of January means that it was done a long time ago and they were waiting to push the button. So yeah, I'm glad he's gone. Good luck to him. Yeah. What can you say? Good luck. You know, they've got a 14 million pound option or euro. I mean, whatever it is, they're going to send him back because you know he's going to stink. It's an option to buy. It's not on. What is option to buy? Does that mean that they have to buy? Obligation to buy is the one where they have to buy him, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So an option.
They're gonna send him back, man. This is bullshit. They should have just said they joined him and not said nothing. It's a waste. It's a waste. They're gonna send him back. He's done nothing. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Donny, right, is that I was never a huge fan of Donny van der Beek, and I think it started with that really weird letter that Ajax put out where we signed him, saying like, "Look after him, let him dream. He's our boy." And you're like, he's a fully grown man. What are you talking about? Like, it was like getting a letter from like a grandmother or something. I couldn't believe it. And then, like, there are some players, right, in the Premier League that I think, how on earth can you deal with this midfielder? Like, you look at Thiago Alcantara at Liverpool, and he can go off either foot. You couldn't get near him. You look at Kevin De Bruyne, and he's so powerful. Like, how are you going to deal with that? You look at Donny van der Beek. He's weak. He's very one-footed. He doesn't have a long passing range. He just all he can do is run channels, and he's not very effective. And I never thought he was a particularly good player. And everyone keeps telling me that he's intelligent, that he's too intelligent for the team around him. I never saw him do one thing that was intelligent. I felt that he was a bit of a dud from the start. And I do feel sorry for him because he's a nice boy, isn't it? Like, and he's had injury problems, but he never had the mettle to get in and wrestle a shirt off someone. And that's what you want at United. Yeah. You want people to sort of like respect their teammates, but also think that I'm going to show you that I'm number one. And Donny never had that. He was too placid.
Wow.
But Mr. B, or sign, not Mr. B, Yaba, before you get your 2 cents in, I think it's probably a bit underestimating the mother's factor in football, because when you look at Rabiot, his mother's an absolute demon in the contract negotiation field. So the mammy still has a place in football.
Oh, God. No, I agree with Bathtime towards the end of what he was saying there about character. You don't sit at a club and just be content to be on the bench. And I didn't see any desire from Donny to say, I demand a place in his team. He was quite content. Seemed, obviously, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it seemed to me happy to be on the bench, not getting any game time. And that's not good enough for me. You're in the prime of your career. You get an opportunity to go to a big club, and this is your move. This is the main move of your career, and you really don't show that desire to make it work for you. Sometimes you have to really say, in any club, someone's always going to be sniffing around trying to take your place. And what he did was sniff around Bruno and all these other guys, was too nice to them, was probably sort of supplying their shower gel and and soaps, for Christmas, giving them little soaps and deodorants and whatever. The guy, you got to be better than that, man. Be ruthless aggression, as our very own Paddy used to say. And it's true. It's a.
Do you know what it reminds me of, OMONDI? Is that like Donny? I always felt this way about Donny. If Donny's best friend, like if his wife cheated on Donny with his best friend, Donny would go, I completely understand. He's a great guy. I get it. Like, no problems at all. That was always the vibe that I got off Donny,
big.
is that,
Spot on, bro.
that's the kind of guy he was. Like,
Yeah.
Frankie de Jong seems similar to me, to be honest.
Interesting. Now, Mr. B, I'm going to get you to dip into the comments, but I want to leave this particular graphic marinating as we get into some of the acquisitions. That for January's transfer window, that Joe Glazer will retain final say on all Manchester United transfers. So hit those comments for me.
All right. Well, first things first, what I'm going to say to, and this is why the press know F all. Yeah, the press know F all. He retains. So we've had all of this. Oh, what's his name's coming in? Radcliffe is coming in, and he's going to have total control of all of the transfers. And we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Joel Glazer retains final say on Manchester United transfer. You know what that means, don't you? We ain't buying squatty. We're going to loan out all of these players, and all they're doing is sitting down on their money. Oh my good God Almighty! You know what it is, man. Everybody knows Man United. Oh, they're this. Everybody believes them. We do shows on them. We do shows on the topics that they're lying about, guys. You guys waste all of your time in the not waste your time. Sorry, you don't waste your time in the comments. sorry. That's not what I meant. But it's oh my God. All right, look, we're gonna start with Tyrone. Going back a bit, David Beckham wasn't the most skillful, but made the most of what he had. Nobody could rival him for crosses, free kicks, and mileage, which is fair enough. J-Lings and Rashford make this club all about dancing. Okay. Let's see. Emma K, but Omondi can't use partying and dying here as to why you're shit when some of our best players have done it.
Yep, good point.
Attitude again. Let's see. Zoe, Sancho is better than any Man City's current youth players that are coming through. 6 months away from a loan could revive him like Greenwood. I'd send both Sancho and Nanty on loan and see if they can improve. It's a lot of money to loan out the door, though, to be fair. Zoe, Donny's issue with Bruno was who has a clause in his contract, he can't be dropped hierarchy. See, again, I don't know. I don't know what his contract is, but we know this. Look, I know where you're going with that, Zoe, and I'm not gonna bite. King Chala said we need ball players like Donny, pass and move. Look at the players also reactive, pass and stay still, pass and not move space. So again, he's saying that Donny had his IQ level was a lot higher than everybody else's. He was just shit, bruv. I don't think it's got anything to do with IQ. And Rajat is saying Donny didn't work enough consistently. Sorry if that sounded rude, but I couldn't agree with that. You've had 3 years at a club and nobody's giving you more than one start. Did he ever play 2 games in a row, even when we had all of those injuries? Silence.
I don't think he did at Everton either.
See what I mean? Yeah. Look, man. Look, he'll go to the Bundesliga and have fun and smash it. But look, let's see what happens. Come and talk to me, Rebel. What other goodies have you got for us?
Well, we're going to start talking about acquisitions now. Just bear in mind that the name here is just one of many. You can pluck your own strikers in another from the sky, but this is the one that I chose to broach the topic with. As we know, Manchester United Football Club do not have a pot to pee in January, and we are looking at low cost options. Now, this one here, he comes in at a release clause of 15 million euros. Just 15 million euros, about 10.5, 11 million pounds. And Manchester United Football Club in the past would have been just went, do you know what? Bang, 11 million pounds. Let him do his work until the end of the season, probably sell him for 25. That's if we were functional. But as we know, Mr. B, BATHTIME and Yaba, Manchester United at the moment is far from functional. And we are in the unenviable position that even a deal of this lowly magnitude we are currently counting the coppers under the back of the sofa to try and see if we can scrounge it together. Now, ignoring the name BATHTIME, how concerned are you that Eric Ten Hag will be able to get the players that he needs to get in order to cover the remainder of the season? Because as we know, we do have a problem with goal scoring. Rasmus Højlund is a young man, and there's a lot of weight being thrust upon his shoulders.
I'm not that concerned, to be honest, Rebel. I'm just looking at this guy here. That's a beautiful running style, isn't it, Omondi? No, he's just about to accelerate. Look how upright and balanced he is. Like, yeah. I don't know anything about this guy, but that's top quality athleticism. Right there. Maybe his right arm's a little bit too high, but he's just about to get off. But no, I'm not that worried, Rebel. I'll tell you why I'm not that worried. I don't think we've got a chance in hell of getting top four. I don't think we're going to win the FA Cup. I'm not particularly bothered about playing in the Conference League or the Europa League next year. I think it's time for you've got to, with farming, right? Occasionally you have to let a field have a year off, like a fallow field, to let all the nitrogen get back in, or other leguminous root vegetables can be used. But I think that we have to look at having a fallow year. And what I don't want us to do is go out and make sort of panic signings the way that Casemiro was a panic signing. Not a bad player, but we paid too much. We pay him too much. The contract's too long, and he's not for the future. So I think that what Ineos are doing is probably the right thing. Look, Andrew, go back to that photo. Look, when you run, look, this is something that Omondi will never talk about with Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire's running style is a disaster. He runs like the Tasmanian devil. His arms are everywhere. His neck's not balanced. I was looking at that thinking look how upright he is as he's accelerating. That's perfect form.
He's in the drive stage there.
So that's Isak then. You're saying that Isak has got the perfect running style. Is that what you're saying? Because he looks
this Garassi dude. Is that Garassi? I don't know.
No, that is Garassi. Yeah, that is Garassi.
Yeah, but, that's a really nice running style.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about him, but I looked at that and I thought, because I've been told that I need to run more upright. Because I just run like a little hobbit, like neck forward, arse out.
As long as you get there, it doesn't matter how you get there, bath time.
No, but I'm on there. Am I wrong? You're into athletics. That looks like a good sort of like acceleration position.
Yeah, there should be. I remember Darren Campbell. He was a top athlete. He was involved in football. He used to play sort of a good level before he got involved in athletics. So he started becoming a coach for players, and he realized that their running style was all over the place. A bit critical, like you. That looks like a good drive stage, like he's ready to go. And he looks tall and slim and slender, but it looks like he's got he's about to, like you get off the blocks, the first 10 meters, you run with your head down, and you get into, that's your drive stage, and that's what he looks like he's getting into there, where he can pick up go. So he's not on top speed yet. He'll be getting into his, top speed very soon.
Can I ask you about this particular line here? Because obviously the reason why we're looking at these players is we are currently level on points with Crystal Palace, and only two teams, Burnley and Sheffield United, have scored less goals than us. And Luton has scored more goals than Manchester United in the league this season. That's not a pretty stat, is it?
It's not, but what do you get for 11 million? Really? What do you get for 11 million in this day and age, in this current market? What are we going to be getting for 11 million?
I'll give you anything you like for 11 million, Mr. B.
Football wise, we're talking football wise. I'm convinced that this player is going to be nothing. I'm a bit like you, Bathtime, in thinking, do we really need to be spending? I'm not saying we take a year away, because I disagree that we should be throwing away the season when there is still points to be had. But he's not somebody who's ever been on anybody's radar. Anybody's radar. Hence why his buyout is what it is. He's a good season. He's had a great season, to be fair, but nobody's even heard of him. You know, is this intelligent? Could this be an intelligent purchase? Not with the history of our club, I doubt it. I just think this will be a waste of money, and we wouldn't even be able to get back the 12 million for him because of his age. So, no.
I think
Not for me.
we look at this guy. I agree with you, Mr. B. I mean, buying someone who's just hot, having a hot patch. Where was this hot patch for the last previous seasons? He's been at Stuttgart for a while. He came in. I've read his story, and he came in, wasn't blowing up, and now he's reached a purple patch where he's scoring goals. So obviously, he's going to be attracting attention from clubs around Europe. Who's the hottest striker? Look at the Golden Ball in Europe. He's up there. I think he scored like good ratio of goals for game, just behind Harry Kane in the Bundesliga. You know, so we do need a striker, but I just think it's a waste of time because I don't. The amount of scouts that we have, was he on our database before he started blowing up and scoring goals this season? I don't think so. I just think it's a case of, oh, he's hot, buy him.
Well, it'd be like Barcelona, like looking at Solanke or something like that. Just like they're on a run. Yeah. I kind of agree with that. I think you need 3 seasons of scoring goals in the Premier League before you move to a top club. It can't be a flash in the pan. And we're also, I don't like a signing potential at the moment. Like, I think if we're going to go out and spend, it should be for a first teamer who's going to be in the team for a long time. And I don't know if we've really sort of nailed down our football philosophy and all of that and where we're going. So I'd prefer us to save our pennies and absolutely don't get seduced by the Euros, which is my other concern. Is that some players going to do well in the Euros? Like, to be fair, it'll probably be McTominay, actually. But some players going to do really well in the Euros, and I don't want another Jordi Cruyff at the club. Or was it Karol Proborski?
Proborski, yeah.
Yeah, Proborski.
Was he worse than Anthony?
Is Proborski better than Anthony?
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not much, but yes.
So what you're saying to me, Bath Time, is we need to learn from the mistake of giving a bumper contract to Rashford last season and not repeat on the basis of one hot season.
Well, I think we've just got to be sensible, innit, Rebel? Like, we are miles behind, like Arsenal and Liverpool and Manchester City and probably West Ham, and we're miles behind. But we're still just we can still see them. They're not over the hill yet, and we can come back. But what we need to do is just have a sensible plan to get there. And as much as I like this Guirassy guy's running style, I don't think that it's something that we should be going for. Like, even though we're not scoring goals, right? I don't think that that's our problem. I think our problem is the midfield balance and the defence. And we should be asking questions about players like Onana and Varane and Bruno and Casemiro and things like that, and seeing like how we sort of want to structure our team, and then look at like getting top quality up front, which is kind of what Arsenal and City have done with Haaland. So I think that we want to take a more holistic view of where we want the team to be and make the right decisions. Because this summer, like, I know you've got your Mason Mount shirt on, but we went for Mount, Onana. Like, we had this kind of scattergun approach to making signings. There didn't seem to be any like real sort of focus on where we need to improve. And under Solskjaer, like, there was something they did that was quite good, where 1 year they concentrated on defence and the big signing was Maguire. They then went for midfield and the big signing was Bruno. And then they went up top and the big signings were Sancho and Ronaldo. And I think that that's a slightly better approach to take, to look at the units on the football pitch and try and get one or two of them and concentrate on one or two of them and just gradually build up. Because we've seen in the last 10 years, it's not a quick fix. We can't get a Ronaldo in, greatest goal scorer of all time. Can't get a Cavani in, one of Europe's best ever strikers. Like, we can't get Pogba in, who at the time was one of the best midfielders you'd ever bloody seen. Like we've got to look at units and places on the pitch where we can improve, and not just go spunking out money on whoever's doing it in the Bundesliga this year. So that's how I feel about it.
Fair play, BATHTIME. And I just want to actually touch in on that. I was going to go into the Varane anger, but there's a graphic I'm going to bring up for you here. And it is a graphic that compares Erik ten Hag versus Arteta in their first 86 games. And obviously, our squad transformation, as you've alluded to, needs to be quite significant. But given where both managers are after 86 games, do we have to quote the Arsenal fans, trust the process?
Yep. I think you do.
You know, I was, and I would have been, but some of the stuff that he comes out, I know they've got to talk bullshit in the press conferences. I get that. But some of the stuff that he's coming out with after the games, I just think this guy's got it's like he's talking bullshit. Like proper, not even made up stuff where you think, oh, you know, he's lying just for the press. Stuff that I actually think he believes. So I'm wondering, just like Damien here, is he actually good enough? I mean, Damien's saying he's not good enough. I am worried because all of the signings that he made this season have been crap. But his first 50, I mean, look, his first 50 games, forget about this last 25 or whatever they are. Very, very impressive. But can we see with Arteta, as much as we cussed Arsenal, and I know on Monday you were on Facebook cussing their asses off, but they kept on playing out from the back, even when they were getting dicked. He didn't divert. I just think Ten Hag, I don't know if he's got the amount of control over the squad that Arteta had in regards to that decisions that can be made. I think there was a lot of players that he did want out who are still at the team in the summer. I don't think he was backed in that. And are they going to back him now when he's got nothing left in the bank? He's got nothing left in the bank to offer them. Right now, he's out there like this, you know, whereas before he could have gone in there with his chest high, you know, his jacket done up. I've done this, I've done that. Now he's going to go there with his begging bowl. He's got no power in these negotiations.
I think there's a lot of parallels between the two. Arsenal had to turn it around. You look at Aubameyang, he was fined for not following suit of how they wanted to go forward, and the same applies with us. Our manager's done that as well. Got rid of some bad players, bad eggs as well, and for the benefit of the club going forward. So when you look at that data there and the games, and remember Arsenal finished 8th twice. They won the FA Cup initially, and then they finished 8th twice in the league, which is probably not acceptable. But they kept with him, and I think by now I saw Rooney the other day. Yesterday or today, he got sacked from Birmingham City for getting him down to 20th when he was 6th when he arrived, you know. And I think, well, Rooney's obviously got a lot of experience. He's obviously got a plan, a strategy, because he's come in with his own people. He's obviously had an interview with the club to say, this is my agenda, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I want the style of play to be. And he's come in mid-season, just into the season, a team that's playing okay, and tried to change it really quick. This is the problem. A lot of players are saying they're getting too much instructions from Rooney and his coaching staff to try and play a brand of football which they couldn't adapt to. And that's why you have to have a dip. And they've dipped to go down to 20th place. I think the same applies for us. We're trying to change the culture, change the style of play. And I think we will dip in the meantime while we're trying to do that. And I think it's clever of the managers, clever of the club not to sack him as yet. Because if we just continue that cycle, he's lost a few games now, let's sack him. You're just going back to square one again, and you have to get a new guy in who's going to once again implement his philosophy and his style of play when it takes a long time. So I think if Rooney would have stayed at Birmingham and had time to sort of turn it around, they might have got struggled with relegation or something, but had more time, because he said, I've heard from Rooney's actually said himself. Remember, he's a Man United legend. He said, I'm actually gutted by this. I was trying to turn it around. He had a plan to get Birmingham playing some good football, good brand of football. You see someone like Vincent Kompany come in and do something Burnley, what he did last season in the Championship. They've completely changed. Burnley never used to play football like that. but he's implemented his style very quickly for whatever reason. I don't know what this formula is, what the secret is. Maybe it's about interpersonal skills to get the best out of some of these players, like we were saying earlier. But like going back to the Arteta thing, they're doing really well now. I think they're going to hit a wall because I don't think up against Man City and Liverpool, I don't think they're ever going to win the league or anything. But the fans will be happy with the progress that they've made.
I mean, for me on Arteta, I'd say the big difference between Arteta and Ten Hag is that I remember the first game back with crowds in the new season was Friday night, and it was Brentford versus Arsenal. And amusingly, Brentford absolutely battered Arsenal.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But every signing that Arteta made appears to have been a plan. Like they got Ramsdale in, like pretty much. That was like Bert Leno's last game or something, because Ramsdale's got better distribution. They got Zinchenko and Jesus in because he wanted to invert a fullback and he wanted like a false nine. And it all looked like it was leading somewhere. Like you can see that he's coached them to play a very good press. You can see he's coached them to play out of a press, and you can see he's coached them for lots of movement in the final third. I don't see any of that from Ten Hag. His signings are scattergun. We haven't got a player in who appears to have like changed how we're playing. We're still dreadful at playing through a block. We're not very good in attack, and we're very basic at getting the ball out of the back. So I know that you can bring up all these sort of like, and also, yeah, JR's right. Arteta is a massive cringe lord. Imagine going to a training session and it's like, and he gets a speaker out and starts playing like "You'll Never Walk Alone" really loudly.
Yeah.
Or you see that one where he did like a magic trick where he brought a light bulb out and started waving it around like it's David Copperfield. Like, but I mean, Pep's cringy as well with the stuff that he does. Like, Pep would drive me mad if I was in the changing room with him. Just shut up and let us get concentrated on the game. But Arteta appears to be taking Arsenal somewhere, and that's the point, is there appears to be a process. With Ten Hag, we have terrible results, and he comes out and he's like, yeah, brilliant. We did really, really well. We're playing great football and stuff like this. He just appears divorced from reality. And I don't think that he can turn it around, personally, because if this, right, Monday, if this was if this was his first season, right, I'd be more accommodating of Ten Hag because he's learning, the squad are learning, and there's always going to be like mistakes in the system, like Kobe like messing up against West Ham and stuff like that. But we're almost 2 years down the line, and no one can really tell me like what United are going to do in an attack. Unless it gets to Anthony, where you know that he's going to like do a little bit of like Moulin Rouge and then pass it inside. Like,
Rebel, can you ask BATHTIME, because I'm not for you to. You ask him how come. Ask him how come Arsenal came 8th twice. Just ask him that.
I won't ask him that, but I will ask him one question. And he references Ten Hag's interviews and the way that he's saying, yeah, it's grand, whatever. Is it possible that there's an instruction that he's not allowed to publicly criticize his players in front of the media for their inabilities on pitch?
Well, to Monday's question, fallow seasons, which is something that I'm an advocate for.
What does that mean?
Like fallow, it means that you basically take a season off in order to prepare to attack the next season.
2 seasons. So remember, they won the FA Cup initially when they first come in.
Yeah, but they're further behind. They were further behind.
2 seasons coming 8th in the league. I mean, we're at that stage now where we're in our 2nd season. If we come 8th, we're sort of on course with Arteta.
If we finish 8th this season, we've had a good bloody season, mate. I tell you.
Do you think so?
I don't think. I think I'm worried that the team that I've been cussing all season, Chelsea. Yeah. I think Chelsea are going to pass us. I don't see the team improving at all. I mean, somebody came in. Somebody's put a message in the chat about name a player who's improved since. UK Strange, name one player since Alex Ferguson retired who's come to United and improved.
Silence.
Blank. You're not going with Maguire?
No, because I'll get shut down on this channel.
Yeah, I would just
Yeah.
solo you out, mate. I would just take you straight off the screen if you do that.
But to talk about like Ten Hag criticizing players and stuff, like he's got himself in a huge jam with stuff he said about Ronaldo in public, stuff he said about Sancho in public when Sancho wasn't even like playing. It's probably him sort of like becoming aware that his words like have consequences. I don't know what it was like at Ajax, where he felt it was okay to sort of like trash people in the media, but he's not like Pep, who can go and call out his entire squad and his fans and then deliver a treble in the same season. Like, I just, for me, Omondi, would you prefer like Arteta or Ten Hag to be managing this football club?
I think Arteta is tarnished now because he's played for Arsenal, and I just wouldn't want him at the club. But I think Arteta's done well, and he's been given the time. And there was a period of time where they were, like I keep repeating, where they had some highs and lows. And as fans of Arsenal Football Club, you finish in 8th twice, 2 years running, and you have to sort of reflect, say, okay, where are we going with this? And like you said, they could see some kind of development with the style of football on their carpet, which they call it. But I just think we need to sort of be a bit more patient and stick with the manager, because we've seen the benefits of sticking with Arteta. They did a lovely series, didn't they, on Amazon Prime called what's it called?
All or Nothing.
Fire the Wall.
You know what? I didn't watch any of it.
But
I never saw one.
But that put the manager. You can't hide, can you? When you've got a camera in your face, look at us. I mean, people watch our show, and they sort of, you can't hide. I can't be consistently trying to be something I'm not when I'm on a live stream all the time. People will suss me out if I'm doing something I'm not. So Arteta won the fans over by doing that. And I know it's a few incidents where he was a bit crazy with his thing, but he's obviously had to have the balls to do it. Imagine that, our manager now, Ten Hag, agreeing to do a show like that with the crisis, with the status of our club, with the way we're getting penalties and everything else. It takes a lot of balls to do that. So I give Arteta credit because of that, because he had to put himself out there and he won over the fans, I think, with that show. So fair play to him.
Thanks very much, Monday, for that. I'm going to wrap up with this final graphic, and I want just your quick summation as to whether you think this might be the reasoning why Ineos aren't having more of a steer in January transfer window. But this is from the Manchester Evening News, Samuel Lockhurst and company once again. And apparently Manchester United will find out within the coming days whether they have fallen foul of financial fair play and will receive a charge.
We ain't spending no money, right? We're spending no money, and we're going to get done again. And Chelsea have spent their granny's money, the granny's money, and their great granny's money, and nothing is happening. Man City are sitting on 115 alleged charges.
Yeah.
And this is just so stupid. They want an excuse. They want an excuse not to spend money, man. They want an excuse not to spend money.
What's the charge, Rebel?
Something that Luckhurst has made up, I bet.
Oh, he's so evil, Luckhurst. He's just a criminal mastermind. Yeah, he's at the heart of this British cabal of super journalists.
So what this is saying is Manchester United would find out on January 14 whether they have broken financial fair play rules after the Premier League adopted a new tracking system. United chiefs explained that they do not expect a January transfer window due to financial fair play concerns after the transfer spend of more than £400 million over the last 2 years. United reported a financial loss of £42 million in October, having suffered a record deficit of £115 million 12 months earlier. Under FFP, losses can be offset by investment in aspects such as investment into infrastructure and women's and academy teams. Premier League clubs are allowed to maximise next losses of £105 million. So the fact that the Glazers haven't input money into club means that we haven't come under the minimum threshold.
We have done up Carrington for the girls, though, haven't we?
We have. It's whether we've done it in time and imagine is what's
We
currently
won't
under
have.
scrutiny.
No, they're gonna have done it late. They don't do anything properly.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we might get a show out of it, but I mean, we know the club is an absolute disaster, and we're hoping that Blanc and the rest of these guys who come in will sort of sort it out. But if I recall rightly, the Premier League changed their rules around COVID, where obviously like gate receipts and all that dropped dramatically, and the clubs have known for quite a long time that they're gonna have struggles with this. Like I believe Chelsea might have come forward and said all this stuff. Yeah, but Luckhurst is just evil, Steph. I completely agree. He's the biggest threat to Western society in the world. The chief Man United writer of the Manchester Evening News. I mean, they're all of them, all the biased British media. They're absolutely terrible. I don't think we go far enough in just how evil they are. But I think that like with the FFP and stuff like that, I imagine it'll be minimal, the sanctions that we get, and it might even be suspended fines because of the COVID stuff. But I look forward to seeing what happens, and maybe we can get a show out of it in a month where we have like 3 games.
Absolutely, and I suppose what would be interesting for us as Manchester United fans, looking at what happened at Everton, given that they had one singular charge and got a 10-point deduction, obviously there would be some concern as to whether or not
They deduct those points we're down. They deduct our 2. Those players would be crying and bitching. Oh, they want to leave. No, they don't have the mental. They don't have the mentals to take a points reduction.
Is that what we're looking at? Like points deduction?
No,
Well-
I can't believe Rebel.
well, you have to take into context that the singular charge at Everton earned them a points deduction. So depending on what they package this deficiency as, do Manchester United fall into the points deduction category?
All right, but what was Everton's charge?
I think it was something to do with losses and mismanaging of reporting of those losses.
Right,
Well,
okay.
there's no
I
way
don't
they
think
can
United will
mismanage
be
it.
misinforming.
Yeah, no chance. That's definitely not it.
But that does bring us to an hour and 15 minutes. Do you want to say goodnight to a few people before we sign off, Mr. B?
Good night, Hydro. We deserve better. Big G. I'm not going to go through all your messages, but we deserve better. Zoe, I'll send you a couple of messages in the week. I'm just so busy, but yeah, it's a long way away, so don't worry about it. Flex, we did see her. Flex Felix, we did see her. UK Straits, we did see you. And everybody else, if I keep going all the way back up this list, we're going to be here all night because you lot were chatbots, which is what we like. And before you go, you lot, please look, just hit the like button. Solo's already been on the blower telling me you haven't said anything about likes.
Did
Guys,
he?
look, hit the likes for me, guys, please. Sorry.
I say you don't want likes.
Before we do go, seeing as UK Strains mentioned them, yes or no, Wayne Rooney as a youth coach at Manchester United Football Club?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? It'd be fun.
Teach
And
him how
on
to
that
drink.
bombshell, thank you all for joining us. Thank you to my wonderful co-panelists, Yaba, Mr. B, Bat Time.
Thanks,
We will
Rebel.
We will be back again tomorrow here on the Man United Agenda for more fun, banter, and chaos, and hopefully no innuendo from Yaba. But that is it from us. Good night, God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow.